Have you ever seen or been in a game like that where you give up that many free throws and only shoot 18?
No, it's crazy. 46 free throws. Sorry, 18. We 18, right? Yeah. We had the bag for most throws. It's deflating, especially when we're going out there trying to play hard, trying to compete. We getting called for fouls, but on the other hand, when we try to be aggressive, nothing don't go our way. 46 free throws is crazy. Sorry, 18. I don't know. Gotta go back and look, but like I said, 46 free throws is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
What would you see? Obviously, career night for Austin. Where did he hurt you guys the most? Kind of in that second free throw line.
22 free throws for him. Free throws. Free throws.
Okay, so I wasn't supposed to make this video today. We have a new news show that will be coming out Tuesday, and I was supposed to make that my top priority. However, yesterday I watched the Kings versus Lakers game where Austin Reaves had 51 points, and the issue is he also took 22 free throw attempts, and I knew that if I went to Twitter, it would piss me off because free throw discourse always pisses me off. And what do you know? I'm pissed off. So in today's video, I decided to be petty and I went back and looked at every single shot attempt at the rim for both of these teams, every single foul for the Lakers, and yeah, the officiating was pretty consistent in this game, and I have the receipts to back it up. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Factor. I've always needed to be fast and flexible for my schedule, and in the past that would mean sacrificing delicious, affordable food for the quickest option. But Factor changed that with fresh, never frozen meals delivered right to my door. And then all it takes is just 2 minutes in the microwave and my meal is ready. Not only is Factor convenient, but it also takes the guesswork out of eating smart for everyone. Eating clean and portion control have never been so easy, with meals that are 350 to 550 calories per serving, and Factor just introduced its healthiest menu yet, doubling the size to 80+ rotating weekly meals, with double the seafood and protein options, and even more Mediterranean meals than ever. This is really good. This is steak. Microwave steak should not be this good. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code ALSORUSTYFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. That is code ALSORUSTYFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Free breakfast for 1 year, that sounds pretty good. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video. My biggest issue with free throw disparity complaints is it rarely takes shot type and offensive approach into consideration. 9 times out of 10, if a team shot more free throws, it is because they drove into the paint more or they took a shot in the paint more, regardless of if it's a drive or whatever. So I went and tallied every instance of this happening for both teams and the percentage of times that it resulted in a foul. In total, the Los Angeles Lakers went to the basket 44 times, while the Sacramento Kings did it 37 times. And when I tallied the total amount of trips at the line that were gained from this, Sacramento had 8 trips to the line and LA had 10. 10 out of 44 rim attempts equals 0.227% of those shots resulting in free throw attempts. 8 out of 37 attempts equals 0.216, which is a whopping 0.011 less volume that are resulting in free throws than the Lakers. So Kings fans who are arguing that LA didn't take that many more shots at the rim use the shot chart for the game. But yeah, LA only attempted just 5 more shots right at the rim, but those stats don't count shots at the rim that result in a foul call. So when looking at the true shot attempts at the basket, the foul call rate is virtually the same. Sacramento attempted 43 three-pointers, LA attempted 25. Sacramento attempted 16 mid-range shots, LA attempted 9. When you take more jump shots, you get to the line less. That is a fact of the game that has been a fact of the game since before the NBA even existed. I found it especially rich that it was DeMar DeRozan complaining about this when I watched him time and time again in this game elect to take a pull-up mid-range shot when he had the opportunity to go to the rim hard. But you might be thinking, okay, well, if LA only got fouled 2 more times at the rim, what's with the free throw disparity? Well, there's 4 main reasons. First, Sacramento also fouled a 3-point shooter twice, and yeah, both of them were fouls. Yeah, that one's not the biggest foul in the world. However, Sabonis did touch his chest on the way down. You see him pull the jersey down. Doesn't take much. And this one, I think Keon Ellis not contesting it is evidence enough, not getting upset and just walking right to the bench. Like, he has his hands on his chest and Austin just decides to shoot it from there. And yeah, you could argue the defender has little chance of getting in the way of that or getting out of the way of that shot. However, that's the defender's fault for putting his hands on Austin. This is smart basketball. You might not like that. You might not like that play. However, regardless, that is what the rules are, and it is officiated consistently. DeMar got fouled on a mid-range jump shot that he made, so that was just 1 free throw versus 6. Now, I could have looked at every single jump shot the Kings looked in case there were some missed calls there, but I dug up like 50 clips for this video, and I'm not going to do any more. I can tell you just from watching it, though, I didn't see any clear-cut fouls on jumpers there. The second reason is the Kings had a handful of calls that were non-shooting after getting in the bonus. In fact, 9 of the 22 free throw attempts by Reeves that everyone was bitching about weren't even shooting fouls. They were calls like this, which, yes, are fouls. Devin Carter pulls Reeves out of bounds, like grabbed him on the back on the inbound at that. Like, yeah, that's clearly a foul. This one right here, this one's not as clear as day, but it's still enough where this second round big, I can't remember what his name is, he just bumps Reeves out of bounds. It wasn't a whole lot of contact, but it's enough. That one I can give you is maybe not the best call, but it's not terrible. The third but smaller reason is a high volume of Sacramento's drawn fouls were and ones. 3 out of the 8 of them, in fact, while LA had 1 and 1 out of their 10 paint fouls. So that by default results in 13 free throw attempts versus 19. Are you mad that the Lakers did not finish more of the layups that they got fouled on? Add on the jump shot foul difference, and just with that alone, that's 14 attempts versus 25. The fourth reason is personnel and an unwillingness to sell calls. For example, Domantas Sabonis tends to shoot hook shots going away from the defender. And as someone who has watched an insane amount of Zach LaVine footage, even when he was at more of his prime as a slasher, this man avoids contact like the plague. All of his layups, he is going away from the contact to take a slightly more difficult but still makeable shot. That's just the way that he drives. This is also a team of players who just don't sell calls. Now, you can sit here and hammer the ethical hoops point over and over and over again all you want, but it is a fact of the game that if you get contact, you should sell it because it results in free throws. I am tired of arguing with a brick wall about that being the way the game works. You might not like it, but if you take issue with that, you have an issue with the rules, not the officiating of those rules. That is an entirely different conversation. I compiled every single rim attempt from Sacramento, and we're going to watch all of them. I did exclude the wide open shots on the fast break because there's enough damn clips in here. But aside from that, we will look at every single attempt where a defender is anywhere present. There will also be the shots that they did get fouled on, just to highlight some of the differences. And I will be tallying these shots, categorizing them as bad calls or 50-50 no calls that probably could have gone the other way, and so on. As well as I'm also just going to say bad calls in favor of the Kings because I think there's one or two in there. All right, first attempt from Sabonis here. Euro step, tries to do the lean in before dropping his third foot. No contact there. That's a fair non-call. This one, he goes around Ayton. No contact on that shot either. Eubanks lowers the shoulder into Ayton, goes up and around, does not take contact from Ayton. I gotta say, Ayton did a really fucking great job of not fouling in this game. This one is a foul because Ayton jumps prematurely. Zach LaVine takes the bump and he gets the and one. So yeah, that is a correct call. Dario Saric, this one, there's a lot of traffic, so it's harder to say for sure. However, to me, it does not look like Rui's hand comes in contact with Saric. So yeah, that is another perfectly fine non-call. Russell Westbrook drives inside. There is a chance here, especially because Russ, I think maybe Vanderbilt hits Russ's head on the way down. It's definitely not clear, so I'm going to consider that a 50-50 non-call. Here, Russ just loses Laravia with the crossover, so it is pretty wide open. I still wanted to highlight it just because it's a sick play. Up fake, lean in. When he goes to release this shot, it's out of his hands before Ayton could even possibly touch his hand, and he does not. So that is a fair non-call. DeMar DeRozan goes up and around. I realize he missed. I realized he falls down, but I really don't think there's an argument that he did anything other than go straight up with his arms. Like, yeah, I think that's the correct call. Lob inbound to Zach LaVine. There was no contact there, so that's clean. Getting blocked by Dalton Connect is embarrassing. That's clean. Little floater over two defenders. I don't really think there's any contact there neither. Sabonis on Vanderbilt. He leans in, really nice move, but no real contact. Dennis Schroeder, completely, dude, again, I gotta give credit to DeAndre in here because this is a very easy situation for a not great defensive big man to foul, but he just pulls away right in time for Dennis's liftoff, and he does not have the balance, so the shot does not go in. But that is not because he got fouled. Dennis kicks out to Malik Monk, who drives inside. This one's tricky because he actually tries to sell this, but I actually don't think this is a call. When I first saw it, I thought that it was. But watch, again, DeAndre Ayton, because the foul is not on AR here. There's a little bit of a hit of his hip there, but at this point, look at DeAndre Ayton. His arm is down here over on the big man. He's not even getting at the shot from Monk. And he's not like Malik, again. He sticks his body out, he flails his legs, but there isn't contact here. That's not a shot that should have been called. So, fair non-call. Zach LaVine driving inside. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? Even without a clear lane, if you just throw yourself into the defender and throw your arms up, you'll probably get a foul call. Who could have predicted such a thing? And this is the type of shit that I mean with Zach LaVine. I realize it's funny that these clips are back to back. However, the way that he will go all the way around the defender to avoid actually getting serious contact just happens all the time. Rui touches his arm for a second, but that's really not enough to call it. Screen from Sabonis. LaVine drives inside. Boom. Pass fake. Lean inside. Completely away from DeAndre Ayton. Good no call. This one, this rookie, or I think it's a rookie, guy I do not even know, just rips the ball right out of Zach LaVine's hands. So that's not a call. That one I believe was, so that's just a good call. Malik Monk drives inside. I believe, yeah, they called a foul on that as well. He kind of sold that contact because I didn't really think there was that much. Russell Westbrook drives inside, bounces off of Rui. There's no contact there at all, not by Rui. He gives the arm to Reeves, and then after that, there's really not much of anything. Yeah, Russ lowers the shoulder into Reeves and then throws that up left-handed. Rui does not touch him. Good no call. Hezi gets around the guy, does not hit the shot. Sabonis does, but both of those were not fouls. So that's two, because again, we're just tallying the rim attempts here. Zach LaVine drives inside. This one's kind of wild because I don't know how he managed to not get hit in this, but despite the fact there's three bodies around him, there's the initial bump on Laravia, But otherwise, no one's around him. He just throws it up. No one hits him on the way up or down. Clean no call. Russ, oh, by the way, super illegal screen here by Domantas Sabonis for the record. Little bit of a bump there from LaRavia, and they call the foul. What do you know? LaVine splitting between two defenders, brings the ball up high, goes up with the left hand. Let me look at that a second time just to be sure there was no real bump. Yeah, LaRavia has his arm straight up and Rui's not doing anything. So again, I think that's a perfectly valid non-call. Russ, that's just wide open. No one's anywhere near him. No reason to make a call there. Zach with the fake, takes the bump, fades away from the basket, but that is an and one. So hits the shot there, even though he was still mostly avoiding the contact. Dennis Schroeder slips inside, no contact there. Sabonis on the tip, no contact there. Dennis Schroeder driving inside. AR takes his hands away. LaRavia doesn't touch him. Clean. No defender present here. He just fucking misses it. So that's clean. And I think we're here to the Lakers fouls now. I got one 50-50 non-call. So one that maybe they should have called a foul. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 fair no calls. If you want to disagree with me, because there's obviously a discrepancy between what we believe fouls are, everyone has a little bit different of an idea. I don't think that was unreasonable at all. But now let's go ahead and look at what every shooting foul called for the Lakers looked like and see if any of those are bullshit, other than the 2 3-pointers that I showed you earlier, which are fouls based on the rule book. So this one is an entry pass into Rui. The leg gets tied up with Dennis Schroeder here. So I think that's enough to make the call. However, the call is before the shot, or at least it should be. So I don't think that this is a very valid call, so I am going to mark that one as bad. This one, jump shot by Ayton. Sabonis smacks his wrist. That is a valid call. This one is some dirt nasty foul bait shit from Marcus Smart. However, it is legal and it is the correct call, as annoying as it may be. That's some other shit where I'm like, again, I don't want to debate with you about what is considered a foul in the NBA. That is more than enough contact while he's going up for the shot. So that is a valid call. Here, goes inside, gets touched by Sabonis, so that is a foul. Like, not the craziest amount of contact to affect the shot. That's why he was mad that he didn't make it, but it's more than enough to call a foul. Sabonis' hand touches him. Another drive inside, and the big man just grabs Austin's wrist. So yeah, that's very clearly a foul. Rui Hachimura drives in on Ellis, who smacks his wrist on the way up, even puts his hand up to show that that was indeed a foul. Marcus Smart does the same thing again. That one, I do think there's a little bit of the arm being wrapped up by Dennis. However, I can't really see it, so I'll give that a 50-50, or I'll give that a 50-50. Probably should have gone another way. This one, definitely a sell. This is what I'm talking about with selling a call. However, it is a foul. Because I'll slow this down even more just to emphasize. Look at the hand of Malik Monk. He is holding this man's hand. Now, again, maybe you could argue this should be a foul before the shot, but he goes into it from there. And I also believe this was the third quarter, so they were in the bonus anyways. So that is another valid call. Marcus Smart, DeMar's all over his back and hits him on with his arm on top of that. That is a valid call. Reeves up fake, goes up, sells that contact a little bit. Let me look at that again. Go slow again. And I will even zoom in. Let's see. Yeah, his arm touches him. His arm touches him on the way up. Yeah, that's a foul. Valid call. Jake LaRavia drives inside on Malik Monk. Malik Monk wraps his arm around him. And that's as he's going for the shot. Yep, arms all wrapped up there, dude. Yeah, throw the ball up at that point. That's just smart basketball. There are probably instances like that where the Kings could have done that, but they didn't. Push in the back on that shot. So that is a valid call. Now this one right here, this is the one that everyone's mad about, and I fully understand. This is the clip that I will give you that is not great because there is definitely a little bit of a push off here by Austin Reeves. Now, I do think Dennis Schroeder sold it, but I've been arguing the whole point that selling it is valid. So yeah, definitely could have called the foul there. But the actual foul after the fact is valid. It's kind of, I don't know what to label that as. Like, I would have called that an offensive foul. So I guess I'll say bad call. So I got 2 bad calls in favor of the Lakers, 1 50-50, and 10 valid calls. And mind you, those are all on the shots that there were called fouls. I didn't even go through and look at shots at the rim that potentially could have had fouls called in favor of the Lakers. I didn't go that way, could have, but I think I've proved my point here. And what bothers me about this is every time this discourse comes up, the subject of bias is always so much at the forefront. Like, oh, it's just the Lakers, man, or the refs just have Shea's dick in their mouth. Or if I'm defending it, it's because I'm secretly a Lakers fan. I do have a Lakers jersey here, so that's not great. But I also have a bunch of everything because you know what? I fucking love the NBA. And I really don't historically have much dislike for franchises. Like, I really will like your team based on if I like the roster. If you have players that I like and they fit well, if they play in a fun way, then I like that team. It's as simple as that. I like Luka and kind of DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia a little bit, but that's about it with this Lakers roster. Otherwise, that's really not my favorite team in the league by quite a mile. This is a frustration that I have with the discussion around the game. I have a borderline obsession with the semantics of the discussion. And when the semantics of the discussion are entirely wrong, I lose it because foul discourse isn't even discourse. It's just angry yelling and posting free throw disparities with absolutely zero context. And it's a fucking excuse on top of that. If the Sacramento Kings wanted to win this game, maybe they should have shot better than 60% from the free throw line. Yeah, the Lakers shot like 20-something more free throws, but they also shot 90% on them, while the Kings shot 60% on them. If they wanted more free throws, they could have gone into the paint more. Maybe DeMar DeRozan shouldn't have pulled up over his defender instead of leaning into them going to the rim. He had multiple opportunities to do that. They lost this game fair and square, but, well, the Kings shot less free throws, so I guess they got screwed. My issue with the way people bring up free throw attempts is and has always been the context of those free throws that is entirely thrown out of the door. I also think it robs the winner of the recognition they deserve. The Lakers played a great game. Austin Reeves played a great game. The OKC Thunder are one of the greatest NBA teams of all time, and Shea is one of the greatest guard players of all time. But nope, he's just a free throw merchant. The refs won them that championship. It's fucking stupid. Free throws. God damn, it really robs the game of legitimate discussion and analysis. And I really, really, really wish people would stop being so simple-minded about it. I was pissed off today, and I kind of derailed the entire workday to make a video about it. But yeah, that will be it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.